So previously, on the first part of the episode with Amin, we mostly tackled the gaming industry. Let's continue the real talk this time.
But yes, I wanted to take the discussion with you to the investor side, because this is where I wanted to tell everyone who's watching us how we met. So basically, Abe wanted me to be part of some sort of judging some startups and startups
Boot
in the
camp,
region,
yes. It's not a boot
and helping them see how we can help them grow. Part of my job in MBC is actually that. So we worked closely with a lot of startups in the beginning to be able to bring them to MBC. What does that mean? So there's something called what we created media to equity. So we, as a marketing, we were able to give you that TV screen, allow you to be able to be promoted, to reach the audience. In return, I would take some equity into your startup. This happened with Anghami, and happened with Lamsa, and happened with Wego, the traveling app. Quickly about these three. So Wego, with the pandemic travel app, we had to slow tremendously. Lamsa is still doing well. They are growing slowly because of they wanted to add so much into the sense of different languages, content creation, because it's a huge setup. The content creation to it is very difficult. You need to be able to be on top of it as well, which we will talk about. Third is Anghami. Anghami is now probably the discussion of of 2021, because everyone is like, so what's where it is right today. It's on its way to be listed on Nasdaq. Things are doing well for them. Unfortunately, if it wasn't also for the pandemic, probably they would have been in a much, much, much better. Definitely, they would have been in a much, much better position. Yet, even though many people said during the pandemic, people reached out to the streaming platforms, yes and no, because music is different than video content. Obviously, we were all stuck at home. You can watch so many videos, but you cannot listen to so many music, because at some point you just want to watch. Um, but anyway, Angham is doing well. So this is where our angle from MBC, we started working with startups. With that being said, and this is what I shared with Abe every time we sit, like, okay, we used to sit on panels, we used to sit on boards and see the board members and see the investors and see the startups, how they are trying to fund their startup, how to be able to get the money to grow their startup. And this is, to me, was a disaster. Honestly, this is this is, I will always stress on the fact that when people meet me and say, I mean, you've worked in so many different areas when it comes to tech and digital platforms, and you know the ins and outs. Why you're not an entrepreneur or a startup believer? I said, guys, that seat of sitting there and working on funds that you don't know where they come from, you don't know how to get them on board, is just a hassle by itself. I would rather not to. So today, I'm a person who believes, like, if I have a dollar and I can do something with that dollar, I will do that. I would love it. Yes, I'm not telling people not to dream big. Please, everyone who does a startup, like me, I am not here to say this is right or wrong. I'm just saying to you my personal view on it. I have a dollar, I will work with a dollar. If you have the ability to go after raising funds and getting a big amount of money, Series A, Series B, and these discussions and these words, they just make me go crazy. Then good luck with that. Do it, because so many have done it and so many have done really well with it. But at the same time, I go back to that percentage where 90 to 95% of the people who went to that direction, um, not failed, but were probably not heard. Yet sometimes you look at a percentage where you see someone who's holding, probably he still have a presentation, he did not even really start to put the team together, and comes to you and tells you, I have my valuation is $5 million. And here, like, this is where I just kill me now. Like, where did you, how did you value your company? Who are you to value that company? And that mentality that has been built into these entrepreneurs, the fact that let's do something and we can sell it in 2 3 years time and make like $2 3 million. No, no, it doesn't work that way. People, maybe it at some point it happened when people were still starting to go into the digital world, but now no one is going to be stupid enough to sit and say, okay, this is your money and do it. Even though I still see it, I still see it.
I tell most of the people now that approach me, and a lot of people approach me, like just today, I had like literally before you recording this, I had 2 calls with 2 startups, and they were still talking something on paper. Like they didn't have anything yet. And I'm like, I said, like, my rule number one now, when in these kind of conversations, is I will not invest in your dream. Build it and come. And it's true that what you said, there's nothing wrong with you saying I'm not an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. If you're an expert in something, doesn't mean that you're going to be a great entrepreneur. You know what I mean? I see a lot of people. It helps when you have a lot of experience because you understand. But what you don't understand, like you said, you've been working at MBC for 14 years, but you also know all about how to work with teams, how to work with geographies, what kind of budget and stuff like that. You would be a much more angle to success than a person who just graduated from university, because a lot of the entrepreneurship and a lot of like the startups lack people management skills and lack management skills in general, whether they're managing. A lot of people, I see this all the time. I fell through it myself. Like, we start the company and then they say, okay, legally we'll register it somewhere else. And I'm like, and that's the first mistake. Legal is so important. You know what I mean? You got to protect an IP. You got to protect this company. Accounting, we have a word in Arabic that says bifrija Allah. You know what I mean? Where it says, start it and money will come in. That is not true. Okay, yes, it helps when you have a product to showcase and then, more eyeballs are on the product. But, you need proper planning. The burn, people, I used to go nuts when people ask me, how much money are you burning? And then when I started my own company, I'm like, okay, so I need to understand who am I paying for, and then you start calling in favors. Please give me this. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine, but that's a part of the entrepreneurship life cycle. Honestly, like if you are sitting on $1 million and want to start a tech startup, I know a lot of startups, and I'm sure you do, had a lot of money who didn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? But it's because I don't want to say they're hustler.
Oh, 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 oh,
You know what I
oh.
mean? Like, so I think there was a startup that came from your side. I was talking to somebody in your group, and they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing a game, and it hasn't done anything. And I'm like, why would you develop a game from the scratch? Why can't you go, as you said, go to a publishing house? Go to a developer, and then just or a publishing house, and just localize a game that actually works.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
And they had the access. I know who you're talking about. They had all the access. Like, why the hell you didn't do it? يعني مثلا I'm gonna tell you Anghami, when I sat with Eddie Maroon, who's the founder, I remember the first meeting. It was me and him in MBC, and the guy was like showing me the phone and telling me, look how Anghami looks like. Someone came to me with a ready app, a ready platform. It has content on it. The minute I saw it, I remember that day. I looked at him as like, okay, I need to get back to you on something. In my head, this is money, 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 money. I jumped immediately to my boss. I said, I want this platform on board. He's like, go ahead and do it. So this is where you are like, you jump in and say, okay, I'm ready to invest. I'm ready to look into that. But don't come to me with an empty paper and say, hey, yeah, I'm creating TikTok. Now that's a different discussion. Like I've seen people come to me with TikTok. Like, no, guys, no, please. You cannot compete with Facebook. You cannot compete with YouTube. You cannot compete with TikTok. Come up with ideas. Great. Like when I first saw TikTok coming into the region, I was like, it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. But now I am a TikTok addict. But you understand later on their edge, their swiping, there's quickness, there's that music. And then here they come to you with an idea like, we can do a Middle Eastern Facebook. Oh my God. Why? You don't need a Middle Eastern Facebook. There isn't any platform that is now today. We shouldn't be thinking that this platform is Middle Eastern, this is whatever. Yes, localized for the sake of people to use it, definitely. But when you're building a platform, don't build a platform for, this is another story. We live in Dubai. I have a good friend of mine. He has this passion to invest in stuff like, I don't want to say names so that it doesn't look bad. But for example, a service that allows you to wash your car in Dubai next to whatever. Type, you're in Dubai. Dubai, the most advanced city in the world. You can wash it like on the phone, like you can just hit a click and it's done. And he's like, you should invest in this. I said, why? This will be used by the niche people. Dubai is different. There's a whole lot of world outside that they are looking for services, application that doesn't exist for them. So you see where I'm going with this? Yeah.
No, I definitely see what you're going with this, and I think it's also a bit of what you're saying is also the lack of education of some of our investors. I'm not saying they just, we're relatively new. Keep in mind, I keep telling people this region, people, you can still make money on infrastructure, and infrastructure is generally very cheap. Like I meet a lot of angel investors who would say, for $50,000 I can literally buy 25% of a home, you know what I mean, and start making, and the house would pay for itself from day one. Why would I put my money on a high risk investment in a startup? Which is logical. In Europe, 50K doesn't get you anything. You know what I mean? So that's why I think a part of it, right? Yes, we have angels investors here, but I call them super angels. They're ones that write hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's not really like, that's the fund by its own, and that's the issue, and that's why I say that, and I say that many times. We have institutional money, but that angel cushion to get people from zero to institution is not as abundant as it is globally. You know what I mean? And we you want to talk about Anghami? Actually, Anghami was the first app I subscribed to for anything content. I was always like, again, I'm gonna put myself in trouble when I say this, the hacker on torrent sites that downloaded the music, that downloaded the TVs. But you know what? I saw an added value for Anghami, and I got Anghami before Netflix. I got Anghami. I have Shahid now too, by the way. And so I have all of these platforms that I've, that now I see value for. I even have a spreadsheet of how much money I'm spending on SaaS products. You know what I mean? Because suddenly you get an SMS saying Dropbox. You're like, what? Like I'm paying for that too? And like, but that's how life is. So definitely there's value there. You're talking about value given. Definitely there's value there. And I'm like super happy that Anghami is on its path, and we've only had a couple of unicorns, like a handful of unicorns in all of the MENA, which is, I know it's a mythical and an animal that I personally hate, because everybody says, when you talked about this, like, I have the new TikTok and this is the new unicorn, and I'm like, sure, you know what I mean? And then how much money do you have? $10,000. I'm like, guys, that's never gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be realistic. Let's go for a zebra, which is my favorite new animal when it comes to investment. You know what I mean? Which is like, you sell the company, it's a collaborative company, you don't compete with people, you work with other people to get there. You flip it in 3 to 5 years, 25 to $35 million range. That's still a lot of money, guys. A lot of people, they come in and say, I'm like, come on. Like, but that is 100% true. And you know what the sad truth is? All successful exits, big ones, are people who are serial entrepreneurs and not first-time entrepreneurs. Yes, there's the one-timer, the Mark Zuckerberg or whatever, but they had many other ventures on the side too. People don't see that, or they make sure they don't let you know that, this was, I've failed 2 or 3 times, and that's a part of it, right? So it's great that you talked about this. You know, I feel that you're opening up something that, and believe it or not, like we've had tons of episodes, and I haven't talked about this topic yet because usually people.
Oh, still like
So
good. I'm happy you started with me.
so yeah, and it's something that I can have a whole series about investors and investor pains and startup founders and their issues. You know, if I show you some of the pitch decks that sent to me, I swear to God, you will laugh. Not laugh at the content, but laugh at sometimes how much info they put, and sometimes how not local. They say, I'm targeting a $17 trillion industry. What? And they're like, what? Like, come on, you know? So, anyway, but that, you know, sending
I
it.
know what you're talking about. Like sometimes I receive a pitch or an idea, and as they are presenting, I'm waiting for that punchline, to that twist, like, and then they're done with it. I'm looking at them like, that's it. This is you coming in. Another story is, I'm gonna say it's fine. So there is a friend, sort of a friend. He has so much money.
Mm.
Speaking to me from south of France, out on the beach, having his vacations, and like, I mean, where do I want to put this $2 million somewhere? And I'm on my couch, COVID pandemic, eating my popcorn, and I just don't want to speak to anyone right now. And this guy saying, "Okay, just wanted to close the phone and tell him, you know what, go toot yourself, because honestly, yani, you have $2 million. You're having your vacation in south of France, sitting on the beach. You have so much money. You don't know where you want to put that extra money somewhere. Go do something beneficial. Either buy a real estate or buy a help someone. Open a hospital. Do something. Don't come to me like, okay, because it's a trend now that I want to invest in a digital application. No, it's not a trend.
It's not for
It's a
everybody.
business.
It's not for
Yeah.
everybody, man. I'm telling you, like I've dealt with a lot of high net worth individuals who come to me and say, I have millions of dollars to spend, but I want you to guarantee me 10 and 12% annual return. I'm like, go buy a building. Like tech, it might hit huge for you. You know what I mean? Uh, it's, you know, last month alone, I've heard this exact quote saying, I want to invest in the next Kareem. And I'm like, my response the second
Tell
time,
him Allah
me
Kareem.
too. Yeah, seriously, Allah Kareem, that's right. As I said, me too. You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying. You know, you have to diversify. You know, like even the people that made money on Kareem, in all fairness, have had so many other investments in so many tech companies. Yes, they've made money on Kareem, but I'm sure half of their what they made was losses on other companies too. It's you know, it's not gambling, but it's you're taking a chance. You know what I mean? Nobody really pushes it that deep. So that's something that I wanted to, you know, emphasize and talk more about. And you know, it's yeah, you're opening up a lot of wounds again. So this is something that is
لا خلاص, let's close them down.
let's close
يلا.
them down. So
Give.
so I know we're running a bit short on time, but I promised you that I would ask you this curveball question.
Yeah.
And so this question, I think you do really well in, but it's a two-part question, and you can do either or you can do both. So I
Yes.
keep asking everybody, if you would like to mimic a superhero, who would that be? Or if you would have a superhero power, what would that be?
Oh, wow. Oh, you took me to a totally different level of thinking, because there's bad ideas coming to my head, and there is good ones. The good ones is basically, yes, I would love to be able to be a Superman and clean our country, Lebanon. For some reason, I would love to clean that country because it has so much dust in it right now and so much bad stuff in it. But at the same time, I want to have that superpower of going invincible.
Invisible.
what is it? Invisible, and go behind some sort of different leaders and tell them, can you stop fucking or
That's fine.
to let's say,
It's fine.
can you stop bullshitting us? Because I'm seeing a lot of people now putting visions on the table. And we don't want these visions right now. I want people to be able to stand on their feet, to work, to eat, to make money, to go to school, to study. Me and you, we're probably the luckiest. We live in Dubai. Dubai is like heaven.
Yes.
But there's a lot of places in the world that needs a lot of help. So instead of that bullshit telling us the visions and we want to do this and we want to do that, there's a lot of people that need help, and I wish we can help them, especially now Ramadan. We are in a month of a holy month, and I hope that we will be able to help people around us.
Again, I honestly loved having you. I think we should do an episode part 2. I think this might one, because I said 20 minutes, but we've been talking for a long time, so it might be 2 episodes as well. Again, thank you very much, Amin, for your time. If you want to say something to my fans, or please, say something now, please go ahead.
I would like, first of all, to thank you. I really want to stress, there's some people when you meet, they have this positive vibe around them. And this is you, Abe. Honestly, every time I sit with you, I meet you, I have this, as if I've known you for so many years, I can just be open up and tell you everything I know. And I feel like there's a comfort zone when it comes to you. And this is what I wanted your fans to know, that you have a very kind heart, you're a very positive person. You'll find solutions to so many problems. And I wish you all the best on the Abez Show.
Thank you very much. And with that, that's the best endorsement I got. Please follow us on all of our channels and follow us. Our hashtag is Real Talk No Nonsense, as you heard from Amin. Until next time, take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.